Hello YouTube, Sidekick here. We're doing another fighter fly-off today in IL-2 Great Battles Cliffs of Dover Desert Wings Tobruk. Today we have a classic matchup, even though we're in the desert. We're flying two Battle of Britain Greats, the Spitfire IIa and the Hurricane 1. So we're starting with the Spitfire. And here we are taking off out of Tobruk, and as per usual with these fighter fly-offs, we always fly the same mission. First we climb out, then we intercept some targets. So we're climbing out as specified in the Spitfire, and not doing too bad. We're getting that climb of around 2,000 feet per minute. And it wants to climb. It's not too hard to coax it up. So this is a significantly earlier war model than the models we flew in the last fly-off. So we'll see how far things had come in that year or so that represents the difference. So you can see our targets are appearing over there on the right. It's going to be 3 Heinkel 111 bombers. As with the last time, their AI is set to basically dumb as posts. So they'll fly in a straight line, and trust me, they'll shoot, but they won't really hit anything. Yeah, this is a pretty good rate of climb compared to others we've done. We're higher than the bombers as we make the interception, so let's go down and say hello. Oops, might have lost a bit more altitude on that wing over than I expected, but we'll pick it back up. So here's the first thing I would say. The acceleration in the early model Spitfire is not exactly eyeball flattening. We're catching the bombers. We're not doing it maybe as fast as we did in the late model Spitfire for sure. So, as with the other missions, we'll try and do one just real long astern pass. Try and do one of those. Yeah, we're getting some hits. Yeah, oh, there we go. So one of the things that's been mentioned by folks on the channel is that I'm not using realistic gunnery, and that could very well have an impact on the amount of damage that I'm doing. So your mileage may very well vary. Now, I do think there is some difference between the types of armament, even though we're set to unrealistic. For instance, so we're carrying 303s in the Spitfire IIa. They do think it took a little bit more volume of fire to achieve the damage we were looking for there than it does with some of the higher calibers. So that's something to keep an eye on, but definitely, yes, we are not using realistic gunnery. Okay, so we do a bit quicker pass on number 2 there. Spitfire certainly wants to go up well, and as with Spitfire 5, it's light on the controls. It does not require a lot of convincing to go where you want it to go. It definitely has that MG sports car feeling that the later model Spitfire did as well. Coming in again here for another bit quicker pass. So yeah, I would definitely say that I'm finding with the 303s that I feel like I want to be a little closer than I needed to be with the 50 cals or the 20 millimeter armament in the other planes. Again, that's just, all of this is just a feeling. This is a completely unscientific test. Again, you may find something completely different when you try it. Okay, we'll close in here. I think we're going to call number 2 done. He's fallen behind, so let's go take out the leader. And we'll try a sort of slashing pass here. Definitely doing some damage. Yeah, he's smoking. Roll over the top here. Yeah, the Spitfire is just really nice to fly. It's smooth, it's stable, but it's very responsive. Alright, we'll just probably do one more pass here. Well, one where you got to hit him. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I would definitely say that I feel like I have to get a little closer with the early model Spitfire with the 303s than I do when I'm using 50 cals or 20 millimeter. But again, your mileage may vary. Certainly let me know your own experience in the comments if you like. Okay, so now we're on to the second part of the test. Do a little bit of straight line acceleration here, which again is not eyeball flattening, but it's decent. And then we're going to do a sustained turn, so we're just going to flicker into a left-hand turn, pull her in tight. Yeah, I would say I'm getting about the same thing I did with the later model Spitfire, which is interesting, which is that the speed comes down pretty quick when you enter the turn, but then it stabilizes at a, you know, probably, I suspect, at what it's around is cornering velocity. Oops, losing a bit of height, that's mostly me. When you encourage the stern pretty hard, which I am. And the other thing is that it's very, very smooth in a tight turn. You don't feel a lot of buckling and buffeting, even though I'm pulling around pretty much as hard as I would want to go. So, and again, doesn't take very much effort to get it into turn and really not a lot to keep it there. It's a very responsive airplane to fly. So the next part of the test is just a power dive. We'll just go down, see how quick we go down and how quick we come back up again. Alright, so not flattening any eyeballs in the dive, picking up speed, but nothing unmanageable, that's for sure. A nice light touch at the bottom. Really likes to come back up out of there, even at high speed. Not feeling a lot of stiffness in the controls at all. And we certainly get up in a hurry. And smoothly roll out here. And I gotta get my Immelmans a little better where I don't go so far below the horizon. Gotta work on that. And what do we pick up? Something more than 5,000 feet, which is pretty good. Alright, let's do just one more thing. Let's do a little impromptu low-level flying here. I could call it part of the test, but it's partly because it's just so much fun to fly this thing. Alright, let's take a look at that little gap there. We'll go shoot the gap. Yeah, even at the bottom of that hill, really nice, light, firm touch on the controls. It's going exactly where I expect it to go. And as we come around the corner here, it just, you know, it doesn't pop too high. I don't feel like it's dragging back down. It just, you know, especially in low level like this, you know, you can definitely feel it if you don't have an airplane that's responsive, and this one just feels like an extension of what I want to do. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the early Spitfire's brother-in-arms, the early Hurricane. So this is their Hurricane 1A. Sorry, to be precise, it's your Hurricane 1 Rotol 100 Octane. Alright, so right off the bat, definitely it flies heavier than the Spitfire. Again, trying to get to the climb-out parameters that you expect. It's requiring a little bit more encouragement to get the Hurricane up close to that 2,000 feet per minute, which seems to be around what all of these fighters want to do. I mean, you know, there's actually not that much to choose between them, in a sense, in that they are all very high performance aircraft, especially for the time. But you know, compared one to another, as you can see, you do end up with differences. the test will always be here when our targets appear. We'll see how high we are compared to the targets, because certainly the Spitfire and some of the other airplanes we've flown, we definitely come out higher than the targets. And I don't think we're going to do that this time. And now that we've settled into a climb, it's a pretty decent rate. It's actually over 2,000 feet per minute, but takes a little bit more encouragement to get the Hurricane there than it did the Spitfire. Okay, so the targets are going to pass overhead. I think we're going to do a left-hand turn to come in behind them, so we don't lose contact with them. So we're not going to end up in that much different position than we did with the Spitfire the way I did the turn the last time, except we're going to be going a little slower because we're going uphill instead of down in that case. So once we level out, get into chase here, again, not eyeball flattening acceleration with the Hurricane. Hurricane very stable, very smooth. It definitely requires a little bit more effort to move it than the Spitfire did, but that's not necessarily a bad thing when you're trying to line up on a target. So again, we'll just close in on the first target here, nice and slow from astern. Really try and hose it down. Gotta do a little better than that. There we go. I think he's finished. All right, so let's go up. Yeah, so I would definitely say that the Hurricane doesn't pop quite as well as the Spitfire did, and in fact you can see we kind of lost ground on the targets with that aggressive a pop-up. So I'll have to go back downhill and get caught up here. So already feeling like I'm not going to want to pop quite as high, quite as aerobatically as I did in the Spitfire. Going to keep it a little bit more under control with the Hurricane. And as a result, we're going to come in at this guy. We're not going to be making this pass very fast. Okay, didn't seem to do a whole lot with that round. Yeah, so not popping quite as high. Come back down around. We're a little bit closer this time, so we'll get the pass in a little bit faster. Come in from the port side here. Try and make it more of a sort of slashing attack. Well, actually, you know what? Number 2 seems to be losing ground. Maybe he's done for. Oh well, we'll just finish him off here. Just a goodbye gesture there. Yeah, holes in the aileron. Yeah, so much less aggressive pop-up that time. Staying in much better contact with the targets now. Getting the feeling for how to fly this airplane. There's no question that it's good at this this bomber intercept when it's flown properly. But you don't fly it like a Spitfire. There we go. We're starting to get the range now. Yeah, same thing. Keep the pop-up a little lighter. Stay in touch with the enemy. There we go. Come back in from the port side here. Actually, we got down below. Well, that's okay. Get some different look at the target. And what do we do that time? Alright. Gonna need at least one more shot at him here. Go over top of him this time. There we go. Yeah, that's feeling like a better approach if I was really flying this. Alright. Need one more. Yeah, we'll give him another one. Well, or do we need... Yeah. Just one more for good measure here. There we go. I think... That all we need to do? Yeah, I think that's all we need to do. So yeah, shorter, sort of more rapid passes, but those are kind of more what you'd probably want to do if you actually had somebody decent shooting at you. So, so maybe that's better. So let's do our acceleration test and our turn test here. Let me just get back, aim towards the coast here, and get the sun out of our eyes so we can actually see the instruments in the cockpit. All right, so straight line acceleration. Yeah, definitely a mid-size sedan sort of category, not your MGB by any stretch of the imagination. And it doesn't, you know, and obviously a lower top speed as was typical of a 1939, 1940 aircraft. All right, let's see what we feel like in a turn. Okay, like the Spitfire, we lose speed fairly rapidly. I am having to work harder to keep the Hurricane in the sustained turn. I don't think we're getting quite the same sustained turn rate. I would be surprised if we were, obviously. You can hear her protesting. I'm definitely having to work harder to keep her in, and we keep losing speed there. I have to back off a little to keep from stalling. Yeah, so definitely not the turner that the Spitfire was, and definitely have to work harder to keep it in the turn, and have to work harder to put it in the turn. So, you know, as I said, maybe the comparison is apt. If the Spitfire's a sports car, then the Hurricane's a little bit more of a family sedan. Okay, doesn't mind going downhill and doesn't get too excited with the speed, but stays manageable, nice and stable. Definitely takes a little bit more to get her to come out at the bottom, though. And we'll pop. Yeah, loses speed pretty rapidly in the climb. Yeah, probably let that go a little longer than I should have. These controls are getting pretty mushy at the top there. And overall, yeah, we're barely got more than 4,000 feet out of that. So definitely not the climber that the Spitfire was either. And let's just see, since we're about in the same place here, let's go do a little bit of low-level exploration with the Hurricane. It's nice and stable, but you know the downside of that is you do have to work a lot harder to get it to do anything you want to do. It requires a little bit more conscious effort than the Spitfire did. Yeah, like in this turn, it's just not coming into the turn the way the Spitfire did. It's not feeling like it wants to go around that corner. And definitely more effort to keep constant altitude in that tight turn. Well, what can I say, folks, about the Hurricane? I think the main thing to say is, you know, it's not a Spitfire. All right, folks, well, that's going to do it for this fighter fly-off. If you're enjoying these videos, please like the video and please subscribe to the channel so we can keep making more. And for now, this is Sidekick, signing off.